words to travel. Ask yourself this: if they walked back into your life tomorrow, would they see the same person they left, or someone unrecognizable in the best way? Because nothing stings the ego more than realizing the one you took for granted didn't just move on. They leveled up. While they were pretending, you were transforming. While they were posting, you were building. While they were distracted, you were becoming untouchable. That's the magnetic factor. Silence alone cannot create. It's the new you born from the stillness. Picture it like a diamond forming under pressure. At first, it's just cold, dark, ordinary, overlooked. But when the silence presses down, when the time stretches on, you use that pressure not to break, but to transform. And when you emerge, you're not the coal they once dismissed. You're the diamond they can't ignore. And here's the beautiful part. Even if they're with someone else, that transformation makes comparison inevitable. They'll look at their new partner and think, why don't I feel the same energy? Why doesn't this feel like the person I lost? That quiet contrast is what keeps you alive in their mind. This is why I keep saying silence is the stage, but you are the performance. Without growth, silence is just emptiness. With growth, silence becomes haunting. They can't stop wondering about you. They can't stop imagining who you've become. And sooner or later, their curiosity turns into regret, and regret turns into obsession. So, my friends, I'm challenging you now. Don't just be silent. Become, transform, rise. Use this time to build yourself into someone even you can admire when you look in the mirror, because that's when your silence stops being absence and starts being presence without presence. Go into the comments right now and write this truth. My silence transforms me. Write it and let it remind you that the power isn't in the waiting, it's in the becoming. And while you're doing that, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with me, because the version of you being born in silence will be the version they cannot resist. Strong, transformed, magnetic. Number 6, how this works, even if they're with someone else. My friends, let's tackle one of the heaviest doubts that creeps in when you're holding your silence. You see them with someone new. Maybe it's blasted across social media. Maybe it's whispered through mutual friends. Or maybe you've stumbled on it by accident and instantly your chest tightens. That voice screams in your head. If they've moved on, then what's the point? Did I lose them for good? This fear is natural, but let me remind you, it's also an illusion. A rebound might distract them. Yes, it might give them temporary excitement, but it cannot erase the original bond. Psychology, my friends, proves that rebounds are not replacements. They are comparisons, and in the end, comparison always keeps you alive in their mind. Think about it. Why do people rush into something new so quickly after losing someone? Because silence is uncomfortable, absence is heavy. They're not filling their life with someone new because they're free from you. They're doing it because they're running from the echo of you. That's all a rebound really is, a distraction from the mirror. Your silence is forcing them to face. Carl Jung said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." What irritates them about their new partner, what they find missing in that connection, will only remind them of what they once had with you. Here's the truth that hurts but heals. Every new smile they share with this rebound is measured against the memory of yours. Every laugh they force is weighed against the natural joy you once gave them. And every flaw they notice in that new person shines a spotlight on the loyalty, the comfort, the energy you carried. You've become the silent measuring stick. And silently they compare, and silently the new partner loses every time. Imagine drinking cheap wine after you've tasted the finest vintage. At first, you try to convince yourself it's good enough. You even say it out loud. This is fine. I like this. But deep inside, you know the truth. It doesn't compare. That's what a rebound is. They can pour the glass. They can sip. They can smile. But their body knows it's not the same. Their heart knows. Their mind knows. And no matter how loudly they pretend, silence exposes them to the truth. You were the standard. And the standard never disappears. This is why your transformation during silence matters so much. If you evolve, if you grow, if you rise, while they're busy distracting themselves, then the gap widens. The bond you once shared becomes a ghost. They can't escape. They'll look at their rebound and see the cracks while imagining you shining brighter than ever. And here's the twist. Even if they don't want to think about you, they will, because the brain can't help but compare. That's how memory works. Once you've touched someone deeply, you live inside them, even if they try to bury it. So, don't waste time obsessing over their rebound. Let them play their game. Let them pretend. Because while they're busy trying to convince themselves, your silence and your growth are working like gravity. And sooner or later, they'll feel the pull. The mask of distraction will slip and regret will come rushing in. Now, I want you to anchor this truth. Go into the comments and write these words. I am the standard. Say it, type it, believe it, because you are not being replaced. You are being remembered in every comparison. Hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with me, because even if they're with someone else right now, it's only a matter of time before your silence turns their distraction into their regret. Silent, strong, irreplaceable. Number 7, timing. It's not about how long, but how you carry it. My friends, this is the question that burns the loudest in your mind when you've been silent for weeks, maybe even months. How much longer? How long do I have to keep this up before they finally break? Before they finally reach out? And it's natural to think this way, because we're conditioned to measure everything in time, days, weeks, months. We mark the calendar and expect results like clockwork. But when it comes to silence, you must understand something deeper. Silence does not work on the calendar. It works on psychology. And psychology does not count days. It measures energy, presence, and transformation. People who obsess over timing always fall into the same trap. They think, if I can just stay quiet long enough, eventually they'll come crawling back. But silence isn't about waiting. Silence is about carrying yourself in a way that flips the script. If your silence is heavy with waiting, they can feel it. If your silence radiates power, they can't escape it. That's the difference. And that's why the question shouldn't be how much longer. The real question is, who am I becoming during this silence? Let me paint you a picture. Imagine 2 people who both walk away in silence. The first one does nothing but wait. They count the days. They check their ex's socials. They sit still hoping for that message to come through. Their silence is fragile, filled with impatience. The second person, though, they walk away and build. They use the silence to get sharper, stronger, calmer. They change their body, their mindset, their energy. 1 month later, which silence do you think hits harder? Which silence do you think burns deeper in the other person's mind? Exactly. The silence backed by transformation. Carl Jung spoke about individuation, the process of becoming whole by integrating the parts of yourself that were once neglected. That is exactly what silence gives you the chance to do. It's not about how long you've stayed silent. It's about whether your silence is passive or active. Passive silence is waiting. Active silence is becoming. And when you embrace active silence, time stops being a measurement at all. Because it doesn't matter if it's 2 weeks or 6 months. The moment they sense your silence is unshaken and your energy has shifted, that's the moment it starts breaking them down. Think of silence like holding a sword. In the hands of someone trembling, the sword looks weak. In the hands of someone steady, calm, and focused, the same sword looks lethal. It's not the weapon, it's the way you carry it. Your silence works the same way. If you carry it with desperation, it betrays you. If you carry it with control, it becomes unstoppable. And this is why I say stop counting days. Stop asking when will it happen. That's the mindset of someone waiting. Instead, shift your question to how am I carrying myself right now? Am I radiating strength or am I radiating longing? Because the moment your silence transforms into calm power, time stops mattering. They will feel it, whether it's been 3 days or 3 months, and that's when the pull begins. So I challenge you now. Stop looking at the clock. Start looking at yourself. Build, grow, sharpen. Become the version of you that silence was meant to create. Because when you reach that point, you'll realize it was never about how long. It was always about how strong. Go to the comments right now and write this truth. I carry silence with strength. Don't just type it, believe it. Because your silence is not fragile, not measured by days on a calendar. It is measured by who you are becoming. Hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with me. Because when your silence radiates strength, the question of how much longer no longer matters. Calm, strong, timeless. Number 8, the shock wave that pulls them back. My friends, this is the part where everything shifts. Up until now, your silence has been a slow burn. It has been the pressure building beneath the surface, unseen but undeniable. And then one day, without warning, it hits them like a shockwave. That is the moment your silence transforms from absence into presence, from emptiness into power. Because when you carry yourself with true self-possession, when you've stopped waiting and started becoming, you trigger something in them they can't fight. Regret, obsession, and fear of permanent loss. At first, they believed they were in control. They thought walking away gave them the upper hand. They told themselves, if I ignore them long enough, they'll break. They'll come chasing back. But when you didn't, when you stood still like a mountain, when your silence became proof of your strength, their illusion shattered. Suddenly the reality dawned on them. I might have lost this person for good. And that realization cuts deeper than any words you could have spoken. Psychology proves this truth. The human mind reacts far more strongly to permanent loss than to temporary absence. As long as they believed you were orbiting around them, they felt safe. But once they sense you've detached, that your silence is not weakness but freedom, their ego starts to panic. It whispers, what if they've moved on? What if someone else gets to experience what I threw away? And that whisper grows louder until it drowns out everything else. Think of it like an earthquake. The ground seems steady for a long time. They go about their life pretending nothing's wrong. But underground, pressure is building. Every day of your silence adds weight, adds tension, and then suddenly the pressure is too much. The ground cracks, the walls shake, and they realize their foundation was never as stable as they thought. That's the shock wave your silence creates, the one they cannot escape. Even if they are with someone else, this shock wave still hits because comparison becomes unavoidable. They look at the person beside them and realize it doesn't feel the same. They replay your laugh, your energy, your presence, and the rebound can't measure up. That's when obsession begins. They start checking your social media, not out of curiosity, but out of desperation. They ask mutual friends about you. They wonder if you're still thinking about them. And the not knowing drives them mad. The silence that once felt like victory to them now feels like punishment. And here's the most powerful part. You don't have to lift a finger. You don't beg. You don't chase. You don't explain. Your silence does the work because it has transformed into something undeniable. You are no longer just the one who walked away. You've become the one who is untouchable, the one who rose higher, the one they can't live with losing. That's when the regret becomes unbearable. And that's when they circle back. Not because you forced them, but because the thought of a life without you is a weight they can't carry. So don't doubt the process. Don't think silence is weakness just because it takes time. Remember, silence is the storm they never saw coming. And when it breaks everything they thought they understood. And so, my friends, here's the truth we've uncovered. Silence is not weakness. It's transformation. It's not about waiting. It's about becoming. Every day, you remain calm, detached, and untouchable. The pressure builds inside them until regret and obsession take over. They come back, not because you begged, but because they can't bear the reality of losing you forever. If this message hit you, press that like button, share this with someone who needs it, and subscribe so you never miss another lesson. And don't forget, drop it in the comments. My silence is power. Stay strong every time. Stoic.